Greetings, everyone. I want to start by thanking the organizers of this very, very important space that they have carved out for us to take the podium and lend our voices to one of the most important causes that our nation will ever face and hopefully resolve. My name is Monique Pressley. I come to you as an advocate, an activist, a legal analyst, an ordained minister, a mother, an American, a human. In the tradition of Dr. Barber, who I honor as he leaves the podium, and am so thankful for the unique opportunity that practically no one would ever ask for of speaking behind him. But I'm thankful just the same to be in the room with those who blaze trails, who stand on front lines, who I see out at marches, and I see out at voting precincts, and I see on television, and I see in organizing rooms, and I see bailing people out of jail, and I see all across America and across the world doing what is necessary, doing whatever they can, we can, with the voices that we have. Thomas Paine said what I think now is an evergreen quote: "These are the times that try men's souls." He wasn't talking about what we're talking about. He wasn't talking about the many things people have used that quote to describe, but it's accurate nonetheless for these days. These are the times that try our very souls. We are standing still in the midst of a pandemic. As of yesterday, 1.01 million of our fellow countrymen, women, children have died due to the COVID-19 pandemic. That is over 1 million families that are grieving. That's over 1 million communities that have suffered loss in business, in church, at playgrounds, in schools. That's over 1 million families that have had to recalibrate their finances, who have had to re-envision their entire lives because illness unexpectedly befell them. But in the middle of the pandemic that has killed 1.01 million of us, as of yesterday, there have been, and this is not the exact number, this is an approximation by the New York Times, 247 mass shootings this year. 247 from January to June in our country. When you hear numbers like that, you have to say, make it make sense, right? Because we know that these numbers aren't occurring in other civilized nations. They're not occurring in other developed countries. They're not occurring in places where we consider ourselves to be far superior. But they don't have 246 mass shootings. They don't have children hiding in bunkers and beneath desks and pouring blood on themselves in order to fake death so that they won't be killed. They don't have children covering the mouths of their other classmates so that they can stay alive. It's only here. And when we think about it, we have to be thinking, make it make sense. I was asking myself that about so many things that I actually named my own show, Make It Make Sense. And Monday through Friday, we try to bring information to people. It's a digital show where we bring in experts and we try to do just that. Not sarcastically, not sardonically, but for real. Make it make sense. Give the information, the who, the what, the where, the when, the why. Not the bickering back and forth that we so often see from some of our analysts and commentators on news programs, I'm the analyst and commentators bickering back and forth sometimes, but we don't do that there. We try to make it make sense. We promise truth. We promise data. But you know, when you hear that children are calling 911 and that they're being told to whisper so that the shooter doesn't hear them, you can't make that make sense. It's nonsense. All you can do is make that. The obligation then doesn't become making it make sense. It's nonsense. It's absurd. It's insane. It's criminal. It's immoral. It's amoral. It ought to be unconstitutional. It certainly is illegal. So we have to make it stop then, don't we? Isn't that why we're here? Because we are beseeching those who we have elected to represent us, whose first obligation is a sworn oath to the Constitution and to the people of the United States of America, that we would be kept safe from enemies foreign and domestic. That is what they swear to us. They supposedly put aside all other allegiances to party, to finances, to career, to reputation, even to family, even to their own personal safety. The oath is to keep us safe. So we're asking them today to make it stop. We're here taking the podium today. I'm here taking the podium today saying make it stop. And that means make it stop absent excuse, absent justification, absent qualification. There are those who say that the ones who were befelled by violence didn't pray. Yes, I want to talk to my preachers and my pastors today. They say if you pray, your family will be kept safe. Stop it. Are we to believe that the parents of the children in Uvalde didn't pray before they dropped their children off at school every day like I have to do mine? Are we to believe that the families that said goodbye to their loved ones, the elders in Buffalo, didn't pray? That somehow God overlooked them and would keep us all safe? No. Stop. Yes, we pray, and we work. And the work is to do all we can to make it stop, absent excuse, absent theories about how those who are mentally ill will ultimately do violent things. First of all, we condemn those remarks because the vast majority, we know from the data, of those who are mentally ill are more likely to harm themselves than to harm others. So no reason to add further stigma to the stigma that's already there that people have to overcome just to seek out help in this country and in this world. No. Absent excuse, we make it stop because there are mentally ill people all over the world. There are criminally insane people all over the world. What is happening here, and it's happening now. Absent excuses about what we can't get done. I stand quite obviously as a black woman. I know a lot about what we can get done in this country. Slavery wasn't a long time ago thing that happened. We just celebrated Juneteenth a couple of days ago. I hail from Galveston, Texas, the shores where General Gordon Granger came with the troops. See, another Texan just walked in the room. I'm grateful for the support. I hail from Galveston, Texas, where Gordon Granger went to the Ashton Villa, which is not far from the home where my parents live even still to this day. I hail from the island where my great-grandfather, who was once enslaved, learned of his freedom. I come from the place. I pass every day by the Ashton Villa where the statue is erected, where Gordon Granger made those remarks, where my direct ancestors learned that they had been free for 2.5 years. While operating and functioning in slavery, they were legally free. I come from that place. And my great-grandfather's son, my grandfather, graduated from the Harry School of Pharmacy. And his children became college educated and educated, and I'm blessed to be able to stand here before you with a law degree from Howard University School of Law. It wasn't that long ago. My great-grandfather was learning of his freedom. So I know that in this country, we can do hard things. We can do impossible-looking things. We can do improbable things. We can rise to the best of us. And we can vanquish the voices of the worst of us. We can do it in spite of the actions of the evil among us. We can get these things done. So make it stop. Absent excuse. Every day I do pray. I have school-age children. I take them to school, and some days, I confess, working mom, screeching up to the curbside, a little bit late. I can't tell you how thankful I am when I show up at my son's school where I would normally drop him off, where there's security outside, where the teachers are waiting, when I'm that little minute behind, and I test that door, and it's already locked. Can't explain to you the sense of comfort I get from knowing that all the protocols are being followed, that everybody did their job that day, that I've got to go through the front where I've got to press a button, and then I go through one door and it's to an anteroom, and then I've got to press another button, and there's a camera looking the entire time that I do it, and it takes a human being 2 times agreeing to let me in every single time. While I'm thankful for that, while I'm filled with sympathy and anger that that was not the case in my home state in Uvalde, while I'm thankful for that, I'm ashamed that we have to do that for my children to be safe, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your brothers, for your sisters, for your nephews, for your nieces to be safe, for your husbands and wives to be safe, for your partners to be safe. We've got to have all the doors locked. We've got to press enter 2 times. We've got to have cameras. We've got to have someone agreeing, another human saying it's okay for me to walk in a school building 5 minutes after school starts to let my child in to learn. I live in an age where my children, since they were 4 and 5, have active shooter drills. They weren't called that at first. They didn't tell the children that's what they were, but that's what they were. I'm ashamed and righteously angry that in this great nation, full of flaws, but still great, we can't get this right yet. But I do believe that we will. I do believe that there are enough of us, like Senator Murphy, who opened today's continuation of the filibuster. I thank God for him. I do believe that there are enough of us to begin the real work of what is the very first responsibility of a nation. Keep us safe. I wanted to close with a quote from one of my very favorite people, heroes, graduate of my alma mater, Howard University School of Law, the first Black Supreme Court Justice of the United States, Justice Thurgood Marshall. He said, "We cannot play ostrich. Democracy cannot flourish amid fear. Liberty cannot bloom amid hate. Justice cannot take root amid rage. America must get to work. In the chilly climate in which we live, we must go against the prevailing wind. We must dissent from the indifference. We must dissent from the apathy. We must dissent from the fear, the hatred, and the mistrust. We must dissent from a nation that has buried its head in the sand, waiting in vain for the needs of its poor, its elderly, and its sick to disappear and just blow away. We must dissent from a government that has left its young without jobs, education, or hope. We must dissent from the poverty of vision and the absence of moral leadership. We must dissent because America can do better. Because America has no choice but to do better. Thank you.